non più tra I farfalloni amoroso, notte giorno di torno.
I have been reading a book. Don't believe Kirk. I actually can read. Pretty well, I might add. Fourth graders have nothing on me. Yeah, so I've been reading this book by Ken Bob Saxton, or Ken Bob, Barefoot Ken Bob as he's called, and he's kind of like, I guess he's like the guru when it comes to barefoot running. And so this is his book. He's had a website for a long time. I think since the early days of the internet, he's had a website and that talks all about barefoot running, and lots of people have contributed for years. And then there was like the craziness of Born to Run. Born to Run was just a huge sensation, and kind of everyone that's in barefoot running knows who Ken Bob is, and a lot of this stuff, he's just kind of like the fountainhead for it. And he didn't have a book until, I think this is 2010. That'd be a good thing to read. Oh, digital edition. Yeah, it's 2011. So until 2011, Ken Bob didn't have a book, and he finally wrote it. And so I've been reading this book for about 2 months now, I want to say. And it's... I've just really been taking my time with it. I don't think it's going to win any, what is it, the Pulitzer Prize?
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to win the Pulitzer. And I don't mean that in a bad way. That's not a knock on you, Ken. I actually think it's a great book. I found like the first 2 sections to be pretty repetitious. And the thing about that was, I was like, man, he's just going over the same material over and over and over again, it seemed like. Well, with different drills and different things, but always kind of refocusing on things, ideas that he established at the beginning of the book. And then it dawned on me, well, he's a coach, and he's training. He was training me to run better barefoot. And so that's exactly what it did. It totally did its purpose. So the good thing about taking a long time with this book is that it's kind of allowed me to just put the stuff into practice, and it's really nice. So I now have, when I'm out there doing my running, I have different things that a little checklist I can go through of things I want to remember, like yes, bending my knees. And I think I always did bend my knees pretty well, but I definitely try and relax more. That's a big theme in the book, relaxing. And I also, I really pay attention to, am I looking at the ground? Because I will do that a lot. I'll like get tired or whatever, and I'll start looking at the ground instead of being tall and steady. And that's something that I easily would slip back into. So I found myself just taking this stuff from the book and putting it right into practice, which is exactly why I wanted to read it. I want to get better at barefoot running. One of the things he says it's just really simple, but it's very profound and important. He goes, the point of running is to go forward. Bravo, Ken Bob. But it's brilliant, a thumbs up. It's a great thing to remember, because I personally, when I got into barefoot running, and I realized, like, whoa, how much the form changes when barefoot running, and how much easier running got for me when I run barefoot or minimalist. And then I would see some people running and just look like they were dying or ready to have a heart attack, because it was just simply their form. I saw this one lady who literally looked like she was jumping up with each step. But we go forward, not up, and then down. I mean, we want to eliminate anything that's not essential. So it's a brilliant statement, and again, it's that theme of coaching, and you could just see his heart in this is to be a coach and to really improve people's run and get them into a natural, healthy running form. And it's clear to me that if we run properly, we reduce injuries and we run farther. And this is another part about Ken Bob that, you know, he talks about it later in the book, that he loves to race, and he loves the excitement of the races, but there's something better, and that's more my zone, because I'm not a great racer. I've only been in 2 races in my whole life, formal races. And he says it's the experience and the views, and I have to agree with him. I absolutely love that, and I really appreciate that he just wants to go out and run. I mean, it's freedom, and freedom is just a wonderful experience. So I really appreciated that, and that really comes through in the book. So that was a huge encouragement to me. It's just, that's why I want to run. Just, it's fun. It feels good. Kind of seems, ridiculous that we even have to practice running. To me, on some level, it's like, yeah, just go out and run. It's like walking. Who needs to practice that? It's just a natural thing that people do. But I really, truly believe that there's always room for improvement in form and technique. I play other sports, baseball and soccer, and there's just so much work that people, no matter what a person is doing, music, even the sandal making, I spend a lot of time trying to make things more efficient and reduce the amount of time spent making the sandals. And so I just know there's always room for improvement. And so I think it's good for anybody, and especially runners especially beginners, but there's still a lot there for people that have been doing it a long time. And also it's encouragement to take everything off. Well, maybe all the footwear off. There's one guy in here that actually took it all off and ran completely nude, but that's your business, not mine. But taking the sandals off, and the shoes and everything, and just actually running barefoot, I think it's really good for people. And that's actually one of the things that was an encouragement to me, because as a sandal maker, I want people. There's all these little different business slogans that we've tried to come up with, but I think the best one was Daniel wrote it. It's on the homepage, which is we really enjoy running barefoot, and we want to share that joy with other people. That's honestly it. And if we can do that then we'll be a success. It'll be a successful company. And personally, I love to go running, and I'm someone that likes the barefoot thing and ran in all the minimalist footwear, but I needed some more protection, and there was the sandals, and I want to make them as good as possible, and so more people can enjoy it, such as myself. And so he talks about that even if you're running like 25% of the time barefoot, or 25% of your run, you can do a tremendous amount of good for your stride, and reconnecting with your natural stride and with good form, just by going without anything for a while. And so that was really cool, because that supports what I've been saying, and it's just my opinion at this point, and I'm glad my opinion was fairly correct. I think just Ken Bob's story of how he learned to run barefoot was very interesting, and I like how he's not afraid to, like, one part he talked about all the things he's stepped on while he's run, and he's like, one of them, I think it was like a nail or a tack or something, and or glass, and he just had to pull it out of his foot and keep going. I can't remember exactly what it was. I've been reading this book over a really long period of time. It's just been like my coach, my running coach. And the cool thing about it is that he talks about pain, which is a really important concept. And I think that people are so afraid of pain, experiencing any of it, that we do tremendous damage to our bodies. And so the goal in running becomes reduce the pain. Well, that means it means just running forward. It means not jumping with each step, and it means listening to our feet, listening to our bodies, and that can do a tremendous amount to make little adjustments. And he says, and I agree with him, that our feet are little coaches there. With each step, it's gonna if the less we have between us and the ground, the more they're gonna teach us with each step. So that was really cool. There was another story in there that that I really enjoyed. It was about these horses, and this is like the coolest thing to me because I personally believe that normal footwear does a lot of damage to people's joints. And well, this wasn't about people, it was about horses. And the Houston Police Department, and I had no idea, but go figure, they were everyone puts shoes on a horse. It's like, that's what horses need, right? They need shoes. No, they don't need. Of course, they don't need shoes. They're a horse. It's like putting boots on a dog. It's ridiculous. And so, this is just like one of those just obvious things. But horses, I guess, people have been shoeing horses since the Middle Ages, and it was mostly because they get put in a stall, this muddy stall, and it gets dank and nasty in there, and the horses, it's right in the middle of the story, huh, Joel?
Josh, tell me why I have to get shoed every week.
So basically, going back to the horse story, so they put them in shoes because their hooves would get all nasty and bacteria and stuff sitting in these dank stalls. Well, there's an easy answer for that. Let the horse out of the stall, just let it walk around free and it'll be fine. And so I had no idea about this until I read this book, but there's a movement to take the shoes off of horses, and they were finding the same kinds of things with people. People thought that the horse's hoof was just like this big clump, a big toenail basically, but it has elastic properties, and when it'll expand and contract on each step, and it'll help pump blood through the horse, his leg. Really cool stuff like that. I just loved it. The other thing was that horses that were just notoriously loud when they were walking around, they took the shoes off and the horses got really quiet all of a sudden, which is another benefit of going barefoot. Suddenly it's like, oh man, I'm not making any noise anymore. Well, that not making noise is a wonderful thing. That means there's no injury because there's no impact. You're landing, you're not striking the ground. The other one that I really liked, the other chapter, so it wasn't all training, but so in the back he has a lot of examples of people that ran fast barefoot. And one of the famous examples is Zola Budd. And when I was a kid, so in the mid-'80s, I actually remember the controversy between Zola Budd and Mary Decker. And I was pretty young. I was like 5 years old. But I saw some highlights, and they thought Zola Budd had tripped Mary Decker, like while they were in the 800-meter race or something like that. And so I just kind of remembered that, and I remembered that she was barefoot, and she was killer. So it was really neat. And with the advent of YouTube, I love it because he was bringing up these different runners, and I would go onto YouTube and watch them, and it was just awesome to see some of these great races from Zola Budd and others, and even Mary Decker. And so he's got some really neat stories in there, and he goes through all these different people that were great barefoot runners, or people that trained barefoot and then ran with shoes on, but it was the training that helped them. So a lot of inspirational stuff. And yeah, that's the stuff I need to get out there and work on my technique. Barefoot Running, Step by Step by Ken Bob. Anyways, cool guy. And
quando al riposo Narcisetto a dolcino d'amor